Shalom, Most High Christ bless. I'm Brother Jabali.
Shalom, Most High Christ bless. I'm Brother Mark. Today's topic is Exodus 16 for dummies. So we're going to break down Exodus 16 today because it's a lot of things said that we was eating on the Sabbath day. God sent food on the Sabbath day. Well, we're going to prove that this is not right. So today we're gonna start off with Exodus 16. We're gonna start with verse 1. Come on.
Exodus 16 and verse 1.
Read.
And they took their journey from Elim, and all the congregation of the children of Israel came unto the wilderness of Sin, which is between Elim and Sinai, on the 15th day of the second month.
On the 15th day of the second month, read.
After their departing out of the land of Egypt.
So I wanna talk about it says on the 15th day. Alright. So what calendar was we under? We was under God's calendar right then. Because you gotta remember, well, wasn't no Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Back then it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days, right? On the seventh day was God's Sabbath, right? So 7 plus 7 is what? 14, and add 1 to it is 15, right? Which that 15th day would be what? The first day of the week would be what? Sunday, right? So this was on Sunday when this happened. Read, come on.
Verse 2. And the whole congregation of the children of Israel murmured against Moses and Aaron
Read.
in the wilderness.
In the what?
In the wilderness.
Read.
And the children of Israel said unto them,
Read.
Would to God we had died by the hand of the Lord.
Would to God we have died by the hand of the Lord. Read.
In the land of Egypt, when we sat by the flesh pots, and when we did eat bread to the full.
Read.
For ye have brought us forth into this wilderness, to kill this whole assembly with hunger.
So he said we are brought forth in this wilderness to kill the whole assembly with hunger. Watch this. Read.
Then said the Lord unto Moses, Behold, I will rain bread from heaven for you, and the people shall go out and gather a certain rate every day, that I may prove them whether they will walk in my law or no.
So God said he's gonna rain bread from heaven, and he's gonna prove these people what is that bread that he was gonna rain from heaven. We're gonna get to it here in a minute. Keep on reading. Watch this.
And it shall come to pass that on the 6th day.
It said it shall come to pass. This did not say that it was the 6th day. You brothers and sisters who don't understand how to read the Bible, it said it shall come to pass on the 6th day. It's not saying that it's the 6th day right here. Read. Watch this.
They shall prepare that which they bring in, and it shall be twice as much as they gather daily.
Read.
And Moses and Aaron said unto all the children of Israel,
Read.
And even then ye shall know that the Lord hath brought you out of the land of Egypt.
Then you should know the Lord brought you what?
Out of the land of Egypt.
So then you're going to know that the Lord have brought you up out the land of Egypt. Read. Come on.
And in the morning, then ye shall see the glory of the Lord. For that he heareth your murmurings against the Lord. And what are we, that ye murmur against us?
Stop. It says, verse 7 says, and in the morning, then you should see the glory, the praise of the Lord, for he that heareth your murmur. Let me ask you a question. Would it be smart for God to drop the quails off in the nighttime? No. You wouldn't be able to see them to gather them. Or the manna. No, you wouldn't be able to see it to gather it. So it was done in the daytime when men supposed to what? Labor. So I just want you to keep that in mind. Watch this. Keep on going, bro. Watch this.
And Moses said, This shall be when the Lord shall give you in the evening flesh to eat, and in the morning bread to the full. For that the Lord heareth your murmurings, which ye murmur against him. And what are we? Your murmurings are not against us, but against the Lord. And Moses spake unto Aaron, saying to all the congregation of the children of Israel, Come near before the Lord, for ye have heard your murmurings. And it came to pass, as Aaron spake unto the whole congregation of the children of Israel, that they looked toward the wilderness, and behold, the glory of the Lord appeared in the cloud.
Read.
And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, I have heard the murmurings of the children of Israel.
Read.
Speak unto them, saying, At even ye shall eat flesh, and in the morning ye shall be filled with bread. And ye shall know that I am the Lord your God.
Stop. Before we go into verse 13, that was verse 12 right there. Before we go into verse 13, I just want to remind you that read verse 5 one more time, bro.
Exodus 16 and verse 5. And it shall come to pass that on the 6th day they shall prepare that which they bring in.
Read.
And it shall be twice as much as they gather daily.
Stop. It should be twice as much as they gather what? Daily. So I want y'all, I'm reminding y'all that because why? We're proved to you that this was not the 6th day when they gathered in the quails. Alright? You gotta remember when we first started, the reason why I wanted that 15th day on there to prove you that it was the day after the what? Sabbath. Okay? So, and now, ain't no way that we at the next Sabbath. So watch this. Read what you got, bro. 13.
Exodus 16 and verse 13. And it came to pass that at even the quails came up and covered the camp. And in the morning the dew lay around about the host. And when the dew that lay was gone up, behold, upon the face of the wilderness they lay a small round thing, as small as the hoarfrost on the ground.
Stop. So now, I want to go back to 13. It said it came to pass that at evening the quails came up and covered the camp. So, now let me ask you a question. Did they have refrigerators back then, bro?
No.
They didn't have refrigerators back then, right? So let me ask you a question. How can they store, this was Sunday, how can they store quails every day of the week and on Sabbath? Can they do it? No. So we know they didn't have refrigerators back then. So now watch this. With that, I want give me Numbers chapter 11, verse 31 to 33. I'm just going to prove a little point here, brothers and sisters, that nowhere in the scriptures does it say that this was done on the Sabbath day. And also, nowhere in the scriptures that it says that they was eating quails for 7 days. But we're going to prove that they was eating manna every day. Watch this. Read what you got.
Numbers 11 and verse 31.
Read.
And there went forth a wind from the Lord, and brought quails from the sea, and let them fall by the camp, as it were a day's journey.
As it was a what?
A day's journey.
As it was a day's journey. Read.
On this side.
On this side.
And as it were a day's journey on the other side.
So he dropped plenty of quails. Watch this. Read.
Round about the camp. And as it were 2 cubits high upon the face of the earth.
Come on.
And the people stood up all that day, and all that night, and all that next day, and they gathered the quails.
Hold on. Let's read that again. Read that again. And the people, 32. Come on.
Verse 32. And the people stood up all that day.
So they stood up all that day. So if these quails came in on the Sabbath evening, they gathered all that day and all that night. So they gathered that day, the quails came, and that night, read, watch this.
And the people stood up all that day, and all that night, and all that next day.
So they went through, that would have made them have to go through the Sabbath unto Sunday. Read, watch this.
And they gathered the quails. He that gathered least gathered 10 homers. And they spread them all abroad for themselves round about the camp.
So they spread them about themselves all about the camp. Watch this, read.
And while the flesh was yet between their teeth.
While the flesh was yet between their teeth, what happened?
It was chewed. The wrath of the Lord was kindled against the people.
Read.
And the Lord smote the people.
Read.
With a very great plague.
See, God smote them with a very great plague. So he smoked them before that, while the food was between their teeth. He smoked them with a very great plague. So now with that, give me Psalms chapter 78, verse 23. We're going to go Psalm 78, 23 through verse 31.
Psalm 78 and verse 23.
Come on.
Though he had commanded the clouds from above, and opened the doors of heaven, and had rained down manna upon them to eat.
So he rained down manna upon our people to eat, read.
And had given them of the corn of heaven.
He gave them the corn of heaven, read.
Man did eat angels' food.
Read.
He sent them meat to the full.
Read.
He caused an east wind to blow in the heaven.
Read.
And by his power he brought in the south wind.
Read.
He rained flesh also upon them as dust.
So he rained what on them?
Flesh also upon them as dust.
Read.
And feathered fowls like as the sand of the sea.
Come on. So it covered them. He sent a lot of birds. Watch this. Read.
And he let it fall in the midst of their camp.
And he let it fall what?
In the midst of their camp.
Stop. I just want to make a point here. You remember in Numbers 11:33 it says he gave them a what? A plague, right? Mm-hmm. So so we didn't have no refrigerators back there, right? So how long could they gather those quails before they start to go bad? Read. Watch this.
It says, round about their habitations.
Read.
So they did eat and were well filled.
Read.
For he gave them their own desire.
Read.
They were not estranged from their lust.
They was not estranged from their lust. Read.
But while their meat was yet in their mouths.
Well, the meat was yet in their mouth.
The wrath of God came upon them.
Read.
And slew the fattest of them.
Read.
And smote down the chosen men of Israel.
Read. So he smote down the chosen men of Israel. So, and said it one more time. Flesh was in their mouth. They did eat. So I'm making a point here. Because I'm trying to show you something. So watch this. From Mary, give me Psalms 105 and just verse 40. That's all I want. Psalms 105 and 40.
Psalms 105 and verse 40.
Read.
The people asked, and he brought quails, and satisfied them with the bread of heaven.
So he brought quails with the what?
It says he brought quails, and satisfied them with the bread of heaven.
And with the bread of heaven. The bread of heaven was the manna. Give me Psalms 106 verse 15. Watch this.
Psalms 106 and verse 15. And he gave them their request.
So he gave them their request. Read.
But sent leanness into their soul.
But sent leanness into their soul. So now with that, I want you to go back to Exodus 35 and start with verse 13 again. Exodus 16 and start with
Exodus 16 and verse
13 again.
Exodus 16 and verse 13. And it came to pass that at even the quails came up and covered the camp. And in the morning the dew lay round about the host. And when the dew that lay was gone up, behold, upon the face of the wilderness there lay a small round thing, as small as the hoar frost on the ground. And when the children of Israel saw it, they said one to another, It is manna, for they wist not what it was.
That wist not means they knew not. Wist means knew not what it was. Read.
And Moses said unto them,
Read.
This is the bread which the Lord hath given you to eat.
This is the bread which the Lord hath given you to eat. Read. Come on.
This is the thing which the Lord hath commanded. Gather in every man according to his eating, an omer for every man according to the number of your persons. Take ye every man for them which are in his tents.
Take ye for every man. What verse you at?
16.
All right. Read it again.
It says, verse 16. This is the thing which the Lord hath commanded. Gather it every man according to his eating.
Read.
An omer for every man, according to the number of your persons.
The omer for every man according, so that was the measure, the scale, every person's weight. That's what they had to give it to. Watch this. Read.
According to the number of your persons.
According to the number of the people you got. All right. So hold that right there. Give me John chapter 6. And we're going to start with verse 48. Watch this.
John 6 and verse 48.
Read.
I am that bread of life.
Read.
Your fathers did eat manna in the wilderness.
Your fathers did eat manna in the wilderness.
And are dead.
And are what?
And are dead.
And are dead. Read.
This is the bread which cometh down from heaven.
Read.
that a man may eat thereof and not die.
You see that? So we ate the manna. I just wanted to point that out. All right, so it didn't say nothing about the quails. It says the manna. So watch this. We keep on going. Watch this.
Exodus 16 and verse 17. And the children of Israel did sow and gathered some more, some less.
Some more, some less. So right now they gathering what? Manna. They're not gathering quails no more. Now this is we're going to approach the Sabbath day. We're going to approach the prep day of the Sabbath. Watch this. Read. Come on.
And when they did meet it with an omer, he that gathered much had nothing over, and he that gathered little had no lack. They gathered every man according to his eating.
Read.
And Moses said, let no man leave of it till the morning.
He said, let no man leave of it until the morning. Read.
Notwithstanding,
why?
they hearkened not unto Moses.
But what happened? Read.
But some of them left of it until the morning.
Read.
And it bred worms.
And it bred worms.
And stank.
Uh-huh.
And Moses was wroth with them.
So hold on, stop. So it bred worms and it stank. What do you think happened to the quails? How's the quails gonna last from this Sunday all the way to the Sabbath day? Ain't no way. It's gonna go bad. Only time it didn't go bad is this. Read, watch this, keep on going.
And they gathered it every morning, every man according to his eating.
And they gathered it every morning, every man according to the eating. Why did God send it in the morning? Because you can see in the morning. Read.
And when the sun waxed hot.
And when the sun waxed hot.
It melted.
It melted. Read.
And it came to pass that on the 6th day they gathered twice as much bread.
Stop. So when we go back over here to verse 5, and it says, it shall come to pass that on the 6th day they shall prepare that which they bring in, and it shall be twice as much as they gather daily. This is what it's talking about right here. In verse, what was that? Verse what? 22? Mm-hmm. Right here is what they're talking about in verse 22, bro. Verse 5 was just telling you, it was preparing you for verse what? 22. Verse 5 wasn't the Sabbath day. The Sabbath day wasn't coming in verse 5 when the quails was dropped in verse 13. How we know that? Because we're from verse 5, verse 6 to verse 21. Where does it do it say they gathered twice as much? It doesn't. It doesn't say that, brothers and sisters. Read.
Verse 23.
22 again.
22. And it came to pass that on the 6th day they gathered twice as much bread, 2 omers for one man. And all the rulers of the congregation came and told Moses.
Read.
And he said unto them, this is that which the Lord hath said. Tomorrow is the rest of the holy Sabbath.
Tomorrow is the rest of the holy Sabbath. Read.
To the Lord. Bake that which you will bake today.
Bake that which you shall bake today in the daytime. Bake that which you bake today all the way to the evening time before it went what? Nighttime. Read.
And seethe that which you will seethe. And that which remaineth over lay up for you to be kept until the morning.
So he says, sieve that which you sieve, which means boil. Boil what you gonna boil. And that that which remaineth lay up what?
And that which remaineth over lay up for you to be kept until the morning.
Let's read. Come on.
And they laid it up till the morning, and Moses bade, and it did not stink.
And it what?
And it did not stink.
And it what?
And it did not stink.
Read.
Neither was there any worm therein.
So they didn't get sick. But back over here, they got what? When we went through Psalm 78 and Numbers 11, the people got what? They was hit with a what? Plague. Right here, they wasn't hit with no plague. The food didn't stink. Read, watch this.
And they laid it up till the morning, as Moses bade, and it did not stink, neither was there any worm therein. And Moses said, eat that today, for today is the Sabbath unto the Lord.
Eat that today, For today is the Sabbath of the Lord. Hold on. So I want to make a point right there. Go back to 22. Read that one more time. We're going to go back 22. We're going to read it down because I'm going to make a point. Watch this.
Exodus 16 and verse 22.
Because we're going off of what Moses said, eat that today. For the day is the Sabbath day. Watch this.
It says, and it came to pass that on the 6th day they gathered twice as much bread, 2 omers for 1 man. And all the rulers of the congregation came and told Moses. And he said unto them, this is that which the Lord hath said. Tomorrow is the rest of the holy Sabbath unto the Lord. Bake that which you will bake today.
Today. So he said, bake that which you should bake today. It's daytime. Watch this, read.
And see if that which you will seeth.
See if what that boil, what you going to boil today. Read.
And that which remaineth over, lay up for you to be kept until the morning.
That which is laid over, lay up for you to be kept until the what?
Morning.
To the morning. So if I was able to cook at 6 o'clock, would my food go bad by 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock? No. So this is talking about at nighttime when they cooked it. It lasts all the way to the next what? Morning. Read.
What was it, 24?
24, story 24.
Verse 24. And they laid it up till the morning.
Stop. And they laid it up. That's the key word. And they laid it up till the morning. It didn't say they prepped it all the way tonight and it came and they was ready to eat it. And they just got through fixing it all night, and then right before the sun came up, they laid it up. It said, read that one more time. Watch this.
And they laid it up till the morning.
That means they laid it up to the morning. That means it laid all night. They wasn't prepping. How was they prepping? How was they prepping at night when it said they laid it up to the morning? So it means it laid from sundown all the way to sun what? Up. Read, come on.
And it did not stink.
And it did not. Why would it stink if you just got through cooking it at 6 in the morning? Why would it stink if you just got through cooking it at 6 o'clock in the morning? You're gonna eat at 9 o'clock. That don't make sense. That means they had to lay all night. Watch this. Come on, man.
Neither was there any worm therein.
Neither was there worm therein. Lay your food on that oven from when the sun go down. Lay your food up when the sun go down till the sun go up, and watch you have food poisoning the next morning. Believe me, I did it before. Dummy. Ate it, I was sick as a dog. We don't eat food that stays out all night. I was going to say it again, wasn't no refrigerator. We don't eat food that stays out all night. The only reason they was even able to even eat this food is because what? Because God said, read verse 22 one more time.
Exodus 16 and verse 22. And it came to pass that on the 6th day they gathered twice as much bread, 2 omers for 1 man. And all the rulers of the congregation came and told Moses.
Read.
And he said unto them, this is that which the Lord hath said. Tomorrow is the rest of the holy Sabbath unto the Lord. Bake that which you will bake today, and see if that you will seeth. And that which remaineth over, lay up for you to be kept until the morning.
Read.
And they laid it up till the morning, as Moses bade. And it did not stink.
As Moses commanded, and it did not what?
Stink.
It did not stink. Read.
Neither was there any worm therein.
Because God told them to do it. God told them to do it. So when you go over here to Exodus 16 and start verse over here to Exodus 16, when they got the going down to the 13, when they got the quails, what happened? Why was the people start with a plague? What was the plague they was stuck with? Maybe food poisoning. Because they didn't have no refrigerators. And our people was greedy. And they was eating the quails and they forgot. You know what? Oh, damn. It's It's a 2 days old quail. And go back to, hold on real quick. Go back to Numbers 11 for me in 33, man. Numbers 11 and 33. Watch this, man.
Numbers 11 and verse 33.
Read.
And while the flesh was yet between their teeth,
And while they were still eating the food, watch this.
was it chewed,
And they chewed it.
the wrath of the Lord was kindled against the people.
Read.
And the Lord smote the people with a very great plague.
And the Lord smote the people with a very great plague. What you think that plague was, brothers and sisters? Food poisoning. They were sick as a dog for their lust. Because they wasn't thinking with their heads. So go back to where we was. Let's go ahead and finish this up. Come on.
All right. Exodus 16 and verse 25.
Read.
And Moses said, eat that today, for today is the Sabbath unto the Lord. Today ye shall not find it in the field. 6 days ye shall gather it, but on the 7th day, which is the Sabbath, in it there shall be none.
Mm-hmm.
And it came to pass.
Stop. Why did God say on the sixth day gather that all you can have, but on the 7th day, which is the Sabbath, there should be none? Why? Was it going to be any in the night? No. Why? Because God never sent it in the night. Why was it none in the daytime? Because God says what? It was the Sabbath. So why over here in 13, why would it be any different from verse 26? It don't make sense. Over here in 13, he said quails and they cooked them on the Sabbath Eve and the Sabbath morning. That don't make sense, bruh. But over here, he said what? Read it again, verse 26, man.
Verse 26, 6 days ye shall gather it, but on the 7th day, which is the Sabbath, in it there shall be none.
On the 7th day you should gather it, so it's not going to be none. So why would God make it none right there? Why would God make it none right there? But on verse 13, he made it so. That don't make sense, brothers and sisters. That just don't. Do it make sense to you, soldier?
No, I don't make no sense.
That don't make sense, brother. So, okay, from there, give me, let me see, do I want this? Okay, yeah, give me 1 Kings 8 and 65. Because I'm going to prove to you what I was saying by this was done on Sunday. Read Exodus 16 and 1 more time. Read Exodus 16 and 1. And then I want 1 Kings 8 and 65. Read what you got.
Exodus 16 and verse 1. And they took their journey from Elim, and all the congregation of the children of Israel came unto the wilderness of Sin, which is between Elim and Sinai, on the 15th day of the 2nd month after their departing out of the land of Egypt.
On the 15th day after the 7th month departing out of the land of Egypt. Now read what you got.
1 Kings 8 and verse 65.
Read.
And at that time Solomon held a feast, and all Israel with him, a great congregation, from the entering in of Hamath unto the river of Egypt, before the Lord our God, 7 days and 7 days.
7 days and 7 days, which is what?
Even 14 days.
Even 14 days. So that's how we know that it was 7 days and 7 days. So the 15th day was on Sunday. So when God sent the quails and all these things, let's go back. I'm just recapping here. When God sent the quails and all these things right here, it was still in the beginning of the what? Week. It wasn't on the Sabbath day. Come on, bro. Go back to verse 27. Let's wrap this up, bro.
All right.
I think we about got it. Watch this.
Exodus 16 and verse 27. And it came to pass that there went out some of the people on the 7th day for to gather, and they found none.
So why would they find some right here, but they found some on 13? That's how we know we being taught wrong, brothers and sisters. Read.
And the Lord said unto Moses, how long refuse ye to keep my commandments?
So why did God say that? He said, how long ye refuse ye to keep my commandments? Read.
And my laws.
And my laws. Why God say that? Because the people tried to go gather on the what? On the Sabbath. They tried to go gather on the Sabbath. And God says, how long are these people going to refuse to keep my commandments? Watch this, read.
See, for that the Lord hath given you the Sabbath. Therefore he given you on the 6th day the bread of 2 days. Abide ye every man in his place. Let no man go out of his place on the 7th day.
See, he said, I gave y'all bread for 2 daggone days. But that wasn't good enough for us. That's just like some of you brothers right now. How did the God make the Sabbath good for us? Right now in these times, we got refrigerators. So we can put all type of cold cuts in our refrigerator. We can go get Subway sandwiches and put them in the refrigerator. We can go to Penn Station and get sandwiches and put them in the refrigerator. That's how he made the Sabbath good for you today. Way more easier than back then. Watch this, read.
So the people rested on the 7th day. And the house of Israel called the name thereof manna. And it was like corner seed.
Mm-hmm.
White. And the taste of it was like wafers, made with honey.
Mm-hmm.
And Moses said, this is the thing which the Lord commanded. Fill an omer of it to be kept for your generations, that they may see the bread wherewith I have fed you in the wilderness,
Great.
when I brought you forth from the land of Egypt.
Great.
And Moses said unto Aaron, take a pot and put an omer full of manna therein, and lay it up before the Lord to be kept for your generations.
Great.
As the Lord commanded Moses, so Aaron laid it up before the testimony to be kept. And the children of Israel did eat manna 40 years.
The children of Israel did what?
Eat manna for 40 years.
Read.
Until they came to the land, to a land inhabited. They did eat manna until they came unto the borders of the land of Canaan.
That's all we need. We don't need 36. Okay. So with that, we are TTIC. And this is Exodus 16 for dummies. No, he did not give us food on the Sabbath day for verse 13. So brothers and sisters, please look at this and get edified on this, brothers and sisters. With that, we'll say shalom. Most High in Christ bless. All right.